Well, that clinch is going to have to wait just a little bit. Welcome to Monster Territory, brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Couldn't get it done here tonight. This offense fell asleep at the wheel here tonight. Holy cow, that Blue Jays bullpen was looking dynamite here tonight. The Red Sox do win the series, but in the end, they couldn't finish off the sweep. With a win tonight, they would have clinched a postseason spot, but that's going to have to wait. You got three more against the Tigers. You need just one win to get in or an Astros loss. The Astros will be playing tomorrow. We got 3 games to get this done. We'll talk about that game one here later in the episode. Pitching matchup. We'll take a look at some of the guys that I'm liking against Casey Mize going for the Tigers tomorrow. We'll preview that. But let's talk about this one here tonight. Brayan Bello looked better here tonight. The command was better to me. He was in the strike zone a lot more compared to his last start. In the end, the command just got away from him in the end. You know, he wiggled out of a couple of jams there here tonight. Nice to see. That's what we have seen from Brayan Bello this year, where he'll bend, but he won't break. And you did see that here tonight. Unfortunately, Justin Wilson just couldn't pick him up in the end. Justin Wilson, I'm a little worried about Mr. Wilson here. ERA at a 7.61 in September. At least I think that is the calculation. I might have to go and double check that. But either way, he has not looked good here this month. Giving up the grand slam there tonight to Dalton Varsho. Lefty-lefty matchup. That's why he's here. You know, that's what he was brought in to do, to be a shutdown reliever against lefties, and he's just been very inconsistent here in the month of September. They got to figure something out here. You know, is Justin Wilson going to be the guy they brought in, right? Especially for crunch time here in the last few games of the year for the postseason. Hey, you know, at the end of the day, I know it's very close. I don't want to jinx anything, right? But if you are going to get to the postseason, Justin Wilson has to figure this out, especially going up against the tough lefties in the postseason, right? Because at the end of the day, I mean, who else really could you go to? You know, Chapman, yeah, sure, you could go with Chapman in certain spots, but you would rather keep Chapman for the end of the game. I mean, are you going to go with Brennan Bernardino or, you know, Peyton Tolley? Is he even going to be on the postseason roster? Kyle Harrison, could he be an option? I don't know. Justin Wilson, he's got to get this figured out, right? Because he's going to be a key piece for what the Red Sox are trying to achieve for this year. You got to have him at his best, and he just hasn't looked like it as of late. The Blue Jays, again, shout out to their bullpen here tonight. They were phenomenal. They kept the Red Sox bats at bay. If there was ever a time for the Red Sox to just jump all over the Blue Jays, it was tonight, and they responded here with a great bullpen game. Eric Lauer, he dominated. I mean, my goodness, you couldn't get anything going off of these guys. They had a perfect game through 6 innings. Duran, he was able to break it up. Story broke up the shutout in the end, but that was pretty much it for the offense here tonight. Just a bummer. In the end, you win the series. That's great. You wanted the win here tonight, though. They got to get one more in the final 3. But everybody, if you can, hit that like button for me. Going to be a pretty quick one here tonight. Obviously, you know, we ended the night on a sour note. But we'll go over this one here tonight. We'll preview tomorrow's game. All the familiar faces in the chat, welcome, welcome. We got Andrew, we got Mason, we got Moose, Gabriel, how you doing? George, Jennifer, Marco Scudero is here. Hello, hello. John, how you doing? And John says it perfectly in the chat. Bello being no bueno. That's the old saying around here, or it has been for most of the year with Brayan Bello. Bello being Bello. And I'd say he looked more like Bello here tonight. Not fully there, but it was a step in the right direction, I think. Again, what I did like about Bello, well, hold on, let's just dive into it here. Let's get to the pitching here. So, what I liked about Bello, said at the start of the show, he just attacked the zone a lot more. He was in the zone a little over 50% tonight. He was throwing a lot of sinkers, right? Really leaning on trying to get the ground balls tonight. He was throwing them all over the zone, changing eye levels. First inning, worked around the Lucas triple. Again, he had a couple of little jams here tonight, but he was able to get out of them. First inning triple there to Lucas, got out of it. Third inning, he walked Springer. Vlad had the base hit. Barger with the walk. And then Santander almost hit a grand slam, and we almost saw the blow very early, and it went just foul off the bat of Santander. And then he struck him out with a fastball inside, just caught the zone. Tip of the cap there to Brian Bayo. Fifth inning, he got Heineman, and he hit Heineman, and then he got Springer on a double play, so he worked out of that. But then in the sixth inning, he just kind of melted down. But Trevor Story, again, another error here in the month of September. I'm not sure what's going on with Story here. He's been so solid this year defensively. Now, he's not up there when it comes to the leaders, with all the fielding metrics like outs above average and whatnot, but I don't know, like he was just so good this year at making the routine play, and he's already had a few of those this year that have gotten away from him, whether or not that's a ball that ate him up in the field or he threw a ball away. You've been seeing that here from Story. I'm not sure what's going on there, but he had the throwing error. Barger with the walk. Santander, he got on this time, and on the hit by pitch, tried to sneak the sinker inside of him, and that ended Bayo's night. Ended up being 5 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned, 3 Ks, a couple of walks, and that's the thing with Bayo that I have talked about this year. I do like that he has made the adjustments this year, turning more into a pitcher this year instead of just trying to throw the ball, right? He's being more of a pitcher instead of a thrower, right? He's not trying to strike out everybody left and right. He's leaned more into the contact this year. But this is something that you do want him to be able to try and get a few more strikeouts, especially when you get deeper into the game. That's something I do hope Bayo improves on for next year. Again, I'm happy with what he's done, but if we really want him to take another step forward, he is going to have to get the Ks up a little bit. That's why you are going to see a higher FIP compared to the ERA this year. So just something to keep in mind, especially when you go deeper into the game, right? You need a bit more swing and miss. And yes, he has been able to go, deep into some games this year. But when you're going up against these tough offenses, especially in the postseason, you're going to need a little bit more swing and miss, especially against these hitters in today's game. But Bayo, for the most part, solid here. Just got away from him in the 6th inning. And then Justin Wilson coming in. I mean, we already talked about it. Varsho with the grand slam. That made it 4-0. You left a fastball up in the zone. Again, with Wilson, it's not just the fact that he's been giving up more damage. The command just hasn't been very good with him this month. I don't know if there's something mechanically going on, maybe something release point wise. I'm not quite sure what it is. I feel like the stuff doesn't look bad necessarily. I don't know, just something seems a little off with him. Just very inconsistent. But like I said, you got to tidy this up. You got a lot of big lefty bats that you're going to have to go up against if you are to make it to the postseason. So you need Wilson on top of his game. Zach Kelly, he ended up coming in, giving up the 2-run homer to George Springer. I bet that felt pretty good. I mean, Springer was all fired up rounding the bases. I mean, he had a couple of moments during this series where, he felt like he got robbed. There was that strikeout call where, we got a bit of a gift there. There was that whole, foul ball that it did look pretty close. I mean, we can still debate that, but either way, he wasn't very happy about that one earlier in the series. So, that one felt good for him. But that was pretty much it for the pitching here tonight. That was it for the pitching, and like I said, I mean, you really had no offense here tonight. Perfect game through 6 innings, no hits. Duran had the double there in the 7th inning to break it up. Story with the base hit drove him in. You were able to load up the bases in the 9th inning. Duran had the hit by pitch. Bregman with the walk. Massa had a dribbler that ended up staying fair. Poor Massa, man. I mean, he had just a heck of a couple of games there. This guy's been a Blue Jays killer, and he wasn't able to get anything really done here tonight, minus that dribbler, right? He got on, but then Romy popping out to end this one. In the end, not really much to say other than that. Brian Bayo was solid for the most part. Came apart at the end there. Bullpen failed him. No offense. Tip of the cap to the Blue Jays. That for them, that's got to feel good for them because they have been a little cold as of late. And it is official. The Red Sox are mathematically out of it when it comes to winning the division. So No division for the Red Sox this year. Maybe next year. We'll go for it next year. But we got our eyes on the wild card. 3 more games to go. We'll get to that in just a second here. But do have a word from our sponsor here tonight. I'll be right back.
FT fam, it's still time for you to check out what bathing suit you're wearing and why it's not Fair Harbor. Can we get a little show and tell from Eric Kratz? Nice.
I mean, unfortunately, you can't even see all the little intricacies. We got sharks, we got patterns, we got waves, we got sailboats. Oh, and they feel super buttery on your skin.
Can you show us the liner so people can understand how it's different? Because I've actually been talking it up. I was just on a vacation.
I got the unique liner too. I got the baby blue, John. Something about it, I don't know. It pops.
Head to fairharborclothing.com/foul20 and use code FOUL20, FOUL20 for 20% off your order. Once again, that's FAIRHARBOR clothing.com/foul20 for 20% off. Make sure you use that promo code FOUL20 so they know FT sent you.
Alrighty, let's take a look at the standings. And the Tigers, they were able to win here tonight. Holy cow, the Tigers. They pulled a win out of their butts. They've been losing left and right, and they got it done here tonight against Cleveland. So the Tigers, as of right now, they are in the 3rd wild card spot, still hanging on to it. They are tied for the division. So this is going to be a very interesting series. So I've already mentioned this a couple of times, but going to be very interesting. Very interesting this coming weekend. You got a tie for the Central. Cleveland, they're playing the Rangers to end their season. The Rangers have not looked good over the last few weeks. And for the Red Sox, I mean, they're going up against a team that, they're playing desperate baseball right now. And a team like the Tigers, where they've been in first place for the majority of the year this year, you know they're going to be playing with a sense of urgency. So this is not going to be an easy series. You just need one win. You can lose this series this weekend and you're going to be fine. So, but as of right now, the Yankees winning again. Here, let me see, what was the final score for the Yankees here tonight? They win by a final 5-3 against the White Sox here tonight, so they remain in that first wild card spot. The Red Sox are 2 behind, so you still have a shot at the first wild card spot. It's going to be tough. The Orioles are going to have to, if you can, Baltimore, if you're out there, if you're listening to us, please, we would very much like a sweep, and we would love a sweep of the Tigers. So you could still get that first wild card spot. That way you can go home for that wild card series against the 5 seed. So, but as of right now, the Yankees in that first spot, the Red Sox 2 behind, and then actually, hold on a second. Am I doing my math wrong here? Oh, hold on a second. I apologize. Take back what I just said. My potato brain just got the best of me. I saw the 2 on the standings. No, the first wild card spot is at. I am so sorry, everybody. I read it wrong. You are not able to get that first wild card. You're up 2 on the 3rd wild card spot. Apologies for that. So, but again, just get the win, and you got that 5 seed. So, or you got a playoff spot. Let's see if they can win this series. That'd be very nice if you can win this series this weekend, going to the postseason with some momentum. You just need one, or an Astros loss. So the Astros, they got the Angels this coming weekend. Angels, please, if you can just help us out with a win, that would be amazing. My goodness. One more series to go here, ladies and gentlemen. And for tomorrow, you got Casey Mize going up against Kyle Harrison. There's one guy in particular I like in this matchup, and that brings us to our DraftKings player spotlight. All right, so Casey Mize going up against the Red Sox tomorrow. He's had a pretty solid season for the most part. Record of 14-6, ERA at a 3.91. With Casey Mize this year, taking a look over on StatCast. The breaking balls have been pretty solid with him. He's got a 2-run value when it comes to the breaking balls. Fastballs, not so much. He's at a -1 run value. And then when it comes to the off-speed pitches, I mean, my goodness, -12. So that's not really doing much for Casey Mize this year. But there is one pitch that I got my eye on tomorrow with Mize. So he leads with a fastball 34% of the time this year. The second most used pitch is his split finger. I love me a good splitter. However, Casey Mize with his splitter this year has been getting hit hard. He's throwing it 24.5% of the time. Batters are hitting .305 against it with a .509 slugging. You know who happens to hit splitters pretty well? That's Jarren Duran. Jarren Duran actually has the highest run value against splitters this year on the Red Sox with a 7.9. And with Jarren Duran, if we take a look here, over his career against Casey Mize, over 8 ABs, he's hitting .375 against Mize with over a 1,300 OPS and a home run. So if I'm going over on any player in this lineup for the Red Sox tomorrow, I am smashing the over when it comes to Jarren Duran on DraftKings. I would absolutely lean towards him, whether that's when it comes to home runs or just any of the offensive categories when it comes to DraftKings. Absolutely leaning towards Jarren Duran. And just taking a look at his season here as we get closer to the end of the season, you know, there is one point where Duran, you go back earlier in the year, he was moving along pretty slowly, but he's had this very big second half, almost up to a 4 wins above replacement on Fangraphs on the year, hitting .257 coming into tonight with a .333 on base. That slugging is at a .442. 16 homers, 24 stolen bases overall with a 111 WRC+. No, not the same year that we saw from Duran last year, but has had a very good second half. I'm a believer in Duran against Casey Mize. So head on over to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the code FOUL, and if you use the code FOUL, you get $5 and you can turn it into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. So go check out DraftKings. The crown is yours. I'll be right back.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
I gotta ask you, man. It's been a roller coaster. There we go. All righty. Let's get to it here. All right. So we have game one tomorrow. Let's take a look at the rest of what's going on here. We did not see Wilyer here tonight, but Wilyer does have a couple of hits against Casey Mize as well. Bregman, he's got 4 ABs against him. He's got a hit. Romy, Hamilton, they got a couple of ABs as well. Nate Lowe is hitless against them in his career. Seti, who also got robbed here tonight. I forgot to mention that. Seti had a hard hit ball out there tonight. He got robbed. So let's see if Seti can step up with that bat here in this last series. And then also, another guy with a home run off of Mize is Connor Wong. Connor Wong, a few ABs against him, has a home run. So we'll see what ends up happening here. Now, for Kyle Harrison here tomorrow. Hey, he looked very good his last time out. Pulling up those numbers here. Remember, we saw him against Tampa Bay. He looked solid. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 5 Ks, 2 walks. Fantastic debut, or a fantastic starting debut for Kyle Harrison. He was working that fastball. He was working in the sweepers, right? He looked very solid. So I'm looking to see if he can keep that going. Again, this is a team in Detroit right now where they're playing desperate baseball. And sometimes, you know, sure, you can take a look at the struggles they've had here as of late, but sometimes those might be the worst teams to go up against, man, when they got that urgency. And listen, I've been saying this about the Tigers. You know, yeah, sure, struggling. Yeah, sure, the Guardians red hot to catch all the way up to them in the Central. I mean, what was it, 15 and a half games back? at one point. It was 10.5 at the beginning of the year or at the beginning of the month. But still, I mean, this is a Tigers team that I won't be surprised if, no matter how cold they've been here this month, I wouldn't be surprised if they still made it into the postseason and all of a sudden they got their act together. We've seen that with teams before. Sure, it's nice to go into the postseason hot, but how many times over the years have we seen a team hot and you're pushing in all the chips and they just come up short? And then you take a look at teams that, ice cold going in, and all of a sudden they just get red hot, right? So this Tigers team, at the end of the day, we saw this Tigers team in the beginning of the year. They swept us. They swept us right out of Detroit. They played a great series in that one, right? They came up with timely hits. They got good pitching. We were able to get to Skubal in that series, but then their bullpen really stepped up, right? And also, shout out to the Tigers bullpen here today against Cleveland. Last year, the story of the Tigers was their chaos bullpen. You saw that here tonight, right? They were going with a lot of different relievers there tonight. So they got good arms there. Sure, again, struggling, cold. I don't care. I am not letting my guard down against this Tigers team, right? You got good bats all over the place. Just saying. Now, when it comes to the three guys, we already talked about Casey Mize. Chris Paddock is going Saturday against Connolly early. And then Skubal is lined up for that Sunday start. I know Skubal, right? The Guardians, they got to him the other day. But, I mean, listen, man, I don't want to have to be in a situation where you are fighting for your postseason life and Tarek Skubal is standing right in front of you. I mean, listen, if you're going to get a win, please get a win in the first couple of games. That'd be very nice, right? Connolly early going up against Chris Paddock there. Early in his last start, again, Cora, go back to that one in Tampa. He was looking to win a game there. He pulled him a little early. He was getting a little deeper into the lineup, right? And Cora just wanted to go to the bullpen. He wanted to go with a fresh arm. But early didn't look bad necessarily. The command wasn't looking as good as the first couple of starts, but I thought he looked fine. But let's see what he can do here against the Tigers, right? This will be his fourth start of this year. We'll see. But again, two young lefties going for the first couple of games, and then you got Lucas Giolito going up against Skubal on Sunday. So this is interesting. This is going to be very interesting here this coming weekend. I'll say it one more time. Win and you're in. That's all you need is one win. Game time tomorrow is at 7:10 Eastern Time. Hopefully we can have a nice, fun Friday night tomorrow. We can celebrate. But at the end of the day, like I said, this is not going to be easy. Yes, Jennifer, Saturday, 4:10. And then Sunday, remember, the Sunday games, those are all starting at 3 o'clock, I believe. That's usually what they do for the last game of the year every season. So Sunday we'll be here probably around like 6:30-ish. And then whenever the games go final, tomorrow and Saturday we'll be here. Trying to think here. Oh, I did come up with the schedule for postseason. Of course, we have to get there first, but here's what we got lined up. We'll do the post-game show on Sunday. Monday, that is an off day, but we will be having a preview on Monday night. So be prepared for that. Again, if they get in, just going over the possible shows. And then obviously for the wild card round, post-game shows as well. And then whether or not they move on from the wild card round or they get eliminated, whatever it may be, we're going to be here live, right? We're going to be doing as much as we can this coming month here on Monster Territory. And we'll be doing as much coverage as we can, whether that's postseason or end of season, whatever it may be. So, again, be on the lookout no matter what here on Monster Territory. A lot of coverage coming up for the month of October, no matter what happens. But we'll see. Pat in the chat, leash for Bayo should have been way shorter. He barely escaped trouble several times. Yeah, Pat, I think that's actually a pretty good point. I did think about that during the game. I'm thinking to myself, let's try, because again, they were having a tough time when it came to the offense here. So I was kind of thinking all right, let's get an arm ready. I do feel like maybe you left him in maybe a little too long. I think Cora just saw that lefty matchup, and that's where he was going to go. And I think he also wanted to just show some confidence in Bayo as well. He had that extra day of rest, so I think he was just trying to lean on him as long as he could. And again, kind of give him that confidence, right? Hey, this is your job. We're asking you to try and finish this off, right? Especially at this point in the year with the implications they have. So Cora, he likes to kind of think about things in all aspects. So I think that's what was going on there. I do understand what you're saying, though. But everybody, a bummer overnight. Would have liked a nice little celebration here tonight, but it is what it is. Hopefully we can have that for this coming weekend. We'll see. But everybody, if you can on the way out, hit that like button for me, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you tomorrow night.